You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
Alright, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of The Couch Potatoes. I'm Alex.
This is Cap.
Morrison.
And Morrison's got his fancy schmancy microphone set up today.
Damn right. Got my headphones, my special mic and shit.
Right.
Damn, I feel like a guest on the Joe Rogan show. Now, let me talk about why DMT is terrible for you. Joe, stop going on DMT and hunting elk. And stop feeding it to your fucking dog, you piece of shit.
Why you considered elk meat?
Yeah, it's great. But I don't take DMT and hunt them.
Why you lie to Joe? Why you talk shit to Joe?
The great con of Joe Rogan. Yes, mighty Joe.
Oh, God. Well, this is going to be kind of another little hangout episode. A couple weeks ago, or last week, I'm not quite sure when it dropped, we were talking about our favorite comedians and the TV shows they got. But one kind of aspect of that we really didn't go down that I think would be pretty fun is talking about sketch comedy shows.
Yeah, because there was a shit ton of them.
That was my shit back in the day.
Yeah, in all of our timelines. You know, some are like, we're all different ages, but like late 20s, early 30s. Yeah. And, you know, when we were teenagers, and that was the era of it, basically. Era.
No, absolutely. And what kind of sparked me thinking about that was the fact that Whose Line Is It Anyway? The Drew Carey seasons are now on HBO Max. So it's like I just started putting that on in the background and just letting it ride. And good God, I genuinely forgot how funny it was. Like, I remembered it being funny. Of course. It's like everyone talked about that show being funny, but it's like I forgot just how well timed some of those jokes were. It was fucking way before ahead of its time.
It's all improv, too, which is like, you know, that's a hard medium to push.
Yeah, especially, like, other than that show, there's only been a handful of sketch comedy. Like, that's pure improv. Mm-hmm. Acted out sketches with very limited resources.
Yeah, you just have an idea, and then you have to execute, you know,
there's no writers.
No.
They have to pull it straight from their ass. You know?
Yeah, every single time.
And they're funny, and it's timed very well, and, you know.
There's only a handful of shows that I could think of that go that route.
SNL does, you know, here and there.
They have comedy writers, but they are the comedy writers. So they will improv quite a few scenes, especially when there's guests on scene. They have to change it up because sometimes the guest is just like too, like, what the fuck? Like Elon Musk.
Yeah, but there's been moments like with Eddie Murphy where like just a certain moment of improv makes that entire sketch, you know.
For some reason, I wound up not watching too much Saturday Night Live. Really, the only sketch comedies I watched is I would catch Mad TV every so often.
That is such a raunchy fucking show. That's why I took off.
Yeah,
exactly. Because I was watching it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Comedy Central.
And there'd be Deborah, what's her name, and just smoking a cigarette, and it's like, "There's got to be a better way." And it's like a gas oven for kids, and it's just like, oh shit! And it shows like this little kid like pushing this gas oven, and like, now you got to disconnect the gas valve, and he goes, "Ring."
I remember her.
Just her lighting a cigarette the whole time.
Dude, I remember her Whitney Houston sketches.
Oh yeah, and she goes
where she was full on crackhead Whitney.
Did you ever see the? I know we're going off a little bit, but the Price is Right one where she goes topless by accident.
I don't remember this one.
She starts running. She's in the stands. And she runs down. And she turns, and her top comes off, and she's facing the crowd, and the crowd goes fucking nuts, and it's all blurred out. But you could tell that's like a what the fuck moment. Like, no, keep rolling, keep rolling. We can't redo this.
Oh my God, that's great.
People are gonna be sad that she's not topless now,
right?
Because you can tell her like tucking one in, and she's just like, it's still just one hanging.
Meanwhile, everybody's just like Googling or YouTubing this shit right now. That's listening. No, I don't remember that one at all, but I loved Mad TV.
Oh man, it was so good.
One of my favorite Mad TV skits was the Pizza Hut ultra stuffed crust pizza, and it's like it kept devolving and devolving. It was like it was like you could find a bag of chips stuffed it right there in the crust, and then it was like, and then you find a 2-liter of Mountain Dew stuffed right in the crust, and a bucket of KFC chicken. And it's like, and you change your grandma all stuffed within the Pizza Hut double stuffed thick crust pizza.
It hits so harder back then because that was new.
Oh yeah,
everybody's got stuffed crust now, but back then.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize stuffed crust pizza was such a newer thing. Yeah. I didn't know that came out in the 90s.
Oh, yeah. I remember the term when it was starting to come in, like, the school pizzas and shit like that.
I never got it in school, but I remember see that on TV and I'd be like, hey, let's get one of those. My dad's like, that's fucking high.
Yeah.
We're not buying that.
No, I genuinely... I remember it being a thing, but I also at that point also remember like different food items being a limited edition thing. That's like I would see it sometimes and not all the time. So I guess just in my head, I thought that was like a thing that had been around maybe since at least the 70s. That feels like a 70s thing. Like, dude, what if we like put cheese in the crust?
What if you stopped smoking dope and got a job?
That's what happened. That kid from the 70s never grew up.
And started working for Pizza Hut in the 90s and was like,
make my whole goddamn pizza with barbecue and chicken wings.
It's like, yeah, you'll eat it, you fat piece of shit.
that was Mad TV. Yeah. You will eat it, you fat piece of shit. It's like that meme I saw of like the KFC sign. It says bucket. It's like they're not even trying anymore. They basically say, come to your pig trough, fatty. Here's your bucket.
And it's so true.
It's like, here's your bucket. Now I'm thinking it was West Virginia.
I know it.
Here's your bucket.
Well, that too, and the other thing I really liked about Mad TV, and it's the reason I was aware of it back then, was in '99, Kiss was on there for their Halloween special, and they did a whole bunch of skits.
They fought Michael Jackson.
Yep. They
freed the children.
Yes, and freed the children, because that was kind of like an ongoing like B plot they had going like throughout the episode, as they do like random cutaways to a Michael Jackson character like abducting kids, right? And then it like finally led into like Kiss like beating up a Michael Jackson and being like, he's gone for now, but he'll be back. He always comes back, and when he does, call us. Kiss will be there.
It's weird to watch that now, post, in a posthumous Michael Jackson world, because like when he was alive in that time period, he was that guy that was accused of touching little boys.
Oh yeah,
and that's
especially
all it
even
was.
then, and it was a total play on that, and it's still what makes it funny to me this day.
Right.
It's always going to be funny.
Oh yeah,
creepy pop star with a fucking theme park that they live in named Neverland.
Beat him up. Yeah, that's fucking funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Let's kick his ass.
I love the Will Sasso ones a lot too.
The Kenny Rogers
jackasses.
Oh my God.
Will Sasso is such a like he was fat for so long, and then he got skinny on Mad TV. He got real thin.
Right, but he was still like giant.
Oh, he's still a big guy because he's like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah,
and I remember when he came back after like a whole season being gone or something, and they're like, "Whoa, Will, what happened to you? You're not funny anymore." He's like, I'm literally doing the same material." He's like, "Nah, man, you're just not funny." And he's just like, and he goes after the snack table and starts just eating everything.
I remember that.
He punches Bobby Lee in the chest. Boom. And he starts eating Bobby Lee. Give me your essence.
Dude, apparently Bobby Lee was just like the guy to party with.
Oh, man, monster.
Yeah. He was apparently...
Remember when he did those skits where he was always the party monster with his Daewoo?
Yes.
He's like, don't you want to hang out with Tank? Come on, girl, don't you want to get in my Daewoo? He'd have his buddy in the fucking trunk doing all the stupid shit. Like, his buddy would be in the trunk holding a stereo, and he'd be the stereo, the lights and everything, the smoke machine. He's like, shut up, man. I'm just trying to score some ass.
Yes. No, I love seeing him like post Mad TV, just like be the weird Bert Kreischer type stand-up comedian where he's like shameless and like being sure.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he have a whole thing like with Ari Shafer about that? Like,
I think so.
It was a fight or something. He had a fight with somebody. Somebody punched him in the fucking skull. Somebody punched Bobby Lee in the back of the head or something.
I didn't see this story.
I think it was Ari Shafer.
Ari Shafer, I wouldn't be surprised.
It was a big thing between Bobby Lee and him, and they brought it up on a show. One of the guys asked him, "Hey man, what the fuck was actually all that?" He's like, "No, Ari Shafer beat the fuck out of me in the hallway at the Comedy Store."
Huh. Damn.
God damn.
That wasn't a skit.
No, that wasn't a fucking skit because that would have been fucking hilarious.
That whole underground comedy scene is weird because they talk about all their shit on their own podcasts. And
that's one thing I noticed is like there's so many people from Mad TV who have branched out.
Yeah.
And you see them everywhere. Mm-hmm. There's always somebody, especially, what's it, that tall guy that did the Stewart?
Oh, I think his name was Michael McDonald.
Yeah, Michael McDonald. Man. He pops up
and
everywhere.
not the guy from the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
How am I gonna blow my brains out?
That was one of those things when I started seeing Will Sasso, I didn't realize that I knew of him prior because I had run into him because one of the last few apps I tried hopping on when it was hot was Vine. Like I legit downloaded that early because I liked the concept. And within context, Instagram wasn't doing video. And Facebook didn't have a big video platform. This was the first like real video platform for social media out there. And I like the concept of like you put your finger on the screen, it records. As soon as you take your finger off the screen, it stops recording.
How long was it?
Like 7 or 8 seconds.
Yeah, there's a limit.
Yeah, and you could, so there was a time limit, and for a creative like me, and I never really utilized it too well, but if it had stayed up, that would have been a great way to like really try to create funny, fast content. And I wound up running into this guy on Vine called Will Sasso, and I'm like, oh, this guy's funny. And then as I started going back and watching old Mad TV things, I'm like, oh fuck, Will's in this. Okay, that's why I recognize him, and like part of like his humor still ran true with me.
Them and like there's so many like in and outs from Mad TV that show up on the Joe Rogan show too.
Yeah.
Because Joe Rogan had a show that ran concurrently with Mad TV. I forget what it was.
Fear Factor.
It was before Fifth Factor. It was a
Man show?
No, it was before all that. It was a sitcom he was on.
Oh, what's it called? News Radio or whatever?
News Radio. He was on that.
With Phil Hartman.
Yeah, before Phil Hartman died.
Yep.
But no, it was when SNL was kind of going down in its slump.
Yeah.
And he right before he done the Man Show, because the Man Show is technically a weird skit show.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's where, what's his name? Andy Milonakis came from, right?
God, I forgot about that dude.
The 13-year-old who looks 30.
The forever 13-year-old.
Yeah. Well, it's the 30-year-old that looks 13.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah.
But no, man, I keep seeing quite a few people from Mad TV on his podcast and on Bobby Lee's and stuff like that. But I don't see a lot of the women anymore.
No, Nicole Sullivan's the first name that comes up for me, and the last thing I saw her in was Black Dynamite.
Yeah, Deborah Woman, the black lady from.
Yeah, you don't
she's in. Get this, Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Oh,
really?
I think voice acting's been her thing.
Because now when they do voice acting, they actually map the face too, so it is her.
And she's
fighting Nazis in the Resistance of the Future.
She's very expressive anyway.
Oh, she's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I was like, holy shit, is that Deborah Winger?
Phil Lamar does the same shit.
Yeah. What's his name? Ari Spears is around a lot.
He does the Snoop. He does like a Snoop, DMX, and the Shaq impressions really well.
I like to see him and Kenan Thompson do Shaq and Charles Barkley sports night.
Oh my god! Are you saying he would do like the cross-eyed, thing when he'd do Shaq? He'd be like, "If I make this free throw, I will. Will you go throw away your weapons of mass destruction?"
And he misses.
Yes, exactly.
See, and the fun thing is like, while we're talking about like, Saturday Night Live and Mad TV, it's like, that was running, early, mid, late 90s, all of that. But, with me being born in 92, by mid 90s, yeah, I could sometimes sneak up and, catch that stuff, when mom found out Kiss was going to be on, she's like, okay, you can watch that episode, stuff like that. But the genius thing about it is, but even for, folks my age that was a little younger than Cap and than you, we had shit like All That.
Yeah, we had all that.
Amanda Show and shit like that. But it's like, y'all had a little bit more of the crossover. It's like with the age, it's like, but I was allowed to kind of watch the Amanda Show and All That and Kenan and Kel a little faster than I was Saturday Night Live or Mad TV, also because of the time slots. Yeah. But no, so it's like, but when you actually go back and even as an adult watch those shows, they're fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah, they're all bangers, man. They're fucking great.
They're great. And it's like, and that goes to like show like, especially Nickelodeon during that time, which we've already talked about in a couple episodes, but it's like just how good their programming was at that time. It's how geared toward kids and toward our age group it was at that time that like we could go from having our own cartoons, not about education, but just about silly, goofy shit, straight to our own comedy skit shows that weren't heavily, sexually sexually inverted or adult humor shit we could watch.
It works great to transition younger people from cartoons to live action.
Yeah.
And all that was the Saturday Night Live for kids.
Oh, totally.
It's not raunchy, but it is just like slapstick funny and goofy.
Yeah, teenage problems and
you
things
still
like
get
that.
And you still get that now with Saturday Night Live. It's still goofy.
Yeah.
On sometimes a little cringy.
Yeah.
And so was all that on a few things. But like you don't see that as a kid. You just see like what's her name doing the fucking news report and Amanda Bynes and everybody and Kenan and Kel. That's all you see.
Yeah.
But it's a good transition, because then after all of that, what do you have? You have shows like Pete and Pete.
Yeah.
And
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark, which prepares kids for horror series.
Yeah.
Which I think Are You Afraid of the Dark is probably the progenitor of why American Horror Story, Clarice, and all these other fucking horror series like Hannibal were so popular because those people would have been 20, 25 when those shows came out. And
now they're in
then
charge
King
of
the Hill
networks.
came out and ruined it all because now we all love cartoons again.
But that's an absolute fact. People kind of talk about, which I'm sure we'll discuss more, in the talking about sketch comedies, because I can even feel a little bit of that returning, which I'll explain. But with what's old is new again. I think that's a perfect example with Are You Afraid of the Dark influencing such a large generation of people to where now when they're in control of TV networks and have money and, are submitting things to Netflix, all of a sudden, we're going to see new flavors and tastes of that because the kids that got influenced by it, it's like, okay, I want to make a version of that now.
Yeah, well, it goes to that whole thing of you see it on television, you see yourself. You see someone who looks like you, acts like you, speaks like you. It relates. So now you've sold a customer. It's all about money at the end, but you're still selling it now. That's what could you imagine in the early 90s a show about a crack dealer named Franklin being the most popular show on FX?
Right?
I just started that too.
Fucking love this black guy who sells crack. In 1992, I would have been like, that dude probably caused AIDS. Right? You know what I'm saying? It generates, there's so much more different stuff out, and all the sketch shows we saw as kids, because if I remember, there was another one, it was a cartoon sketch show, Kablam.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that had some live action parts to it, even different types of animation.
Yeah.
That
a lot of stop motion.
Yeah, it sets you up from that to all that, and then you get a little bit older. You're watching like regular live shows and stuff like that. Then you start watching live comedy. Whose Line Is It Anyway? Comedy Central presents. And now the sketch show changes.
Yeah.
And now you're watching Saturday Night Live, the show that's been around since the 70s, but it's a revolving cast, which keeps it funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a machine at this point.
Then Mad TV comes out. It's like, who are these fucking B-list monsters smoking and drinking and thinking this is funny?
Yeah,
and it's like,
at
oh
2
my
o'clock
God,
in the
hilarious. Well, Artie Lang.
Yep, that's
Artie
where he
Lang,
got his start.
Coke addict.
Yeah, little baby fucking Artie Lang.
Yeah,
pre fucking Dirty Work, I think.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't think you're wrong about the whole sketch show changing because there's going to be plenty of shows that kind of tried to repeat the format of a Saturday Night Live or, this, that, and the other. But even the concept of a Kablam, where that was multiple cartoons, sure, you could look at it as like a cartoon short show, but at the same time, it is still kind of a skit show because you've got a revolving cast of characters and 2 hosts introducing it. It's kind of set up like a Saturday Night Live, Mad TV type deal. Then even flip it all the way to, I would give Robot Chicken as kind
Robot
of
Chicken
a
is the
thing
king
in
of
that.
it. Sketch comedy.
Yeah, even though it's quick, fast animation, the way it's set up, even with just like the 5-second gags they would have sometimes as they're clicking through the channel, you can't tell me that's not inspired by sketch comedy.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's just, how can we make, the funniest, 10 seconds.
Pick a random thing, pick another random thing, put it in a scenario, go.
Make it funny.
What I like about Robot Chicken is it's a fan's look at how stupid your love for subjects are.
Yes.
I love G.I. Joe. They had a fucking skit where a dude named Trouser Snake, that was his name, ends up killing all the GI Joes.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, trousers, you did great. And then it devolves into like the GI Joes died, and like, oh my god, man, oh my fucking.
Yeah.
And he's like,
That's
death
what
in the
always
air, death in the
happens.
air. And it's like, thank you, Seth Green, for making me hate the Care Bears.
Yes. They're just like eating the fucking GI Joes. Game over, man. Game over.
But like, there's just so many like, it's a fan's look. You know, like Seth Green or Seth MacFarlane even.
Yeah.
That's a fan of pop culture who gets to write the material, and that's the best material.
Yeah, it really
To me,
is.
it is. And just, it stops shit from like being rehashed, which I hate.
That kind of all comes from like the Kevin Smith thing too, with like implementing fandom into your
And he's great
stories.
at it because he's a true fan.
Yeah.
And something else too. So it's like I feel that there's multiple. I feel like there's multiple sections to making a successful skit comedy show like that, and one of it is being a true fan of whatever you're skewering, because again, true fans can find the funniest bits to make fun of because we love it enough to find the flaws. And then B, and it's something that I feel that a lot of comedians aren't necessarily lacking these days, but haven't honed it in as well as they used to. Maybe podcasting is kind of helping with it, but they're improv.
Yeah.
And one of those, it's like I put on Whose Line Is It Anyway before we started this episode because it's on HBO Max, and it's like going back and rewatching that. It came out in '99, the US version, with Drew Carey as the host. And it is just miraculous seeing Wayne Brady and Ryan Stiles' heads like working so fast and like them kind of looking at each other like, you motherfucker, you said that and I've got to follow it. Yeah. And it's like that kind of silent competition that's like you watch enough of the episodes, you see Wayne Brady like eyeing down like Greg. Yeah. And during certain times, like, come on, give me something. Give me something. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Load the gun. Load the gun.
Load the gun. I'll fire it and make everyone love me. Yeah. That kind of thing. Like, throw me for a loop.
It's competitive like that. They're having fun with it because
also,
of the competition.
Oh, totally.
Out of all like sketch comedy, is the most unique.
It was
because now you got, we don't see it, but like Comedy Central presents. In real life, those were 3 shows on top of each other. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine someone like Greg Giraldo opening and some poor fucker like Bill Burr in the early days having to cover that?
Yeah.
And then after that, Patrice O'Neal or something. Like, could you imagine how mind-fucked you have to be? To be like,
yeah.
How do I cover these guys? They're too good. Mm-hmm. But Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's right there, like you said. Yeah. It's right there. And I would love to see another sketch comedy show like that, but that isn't Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
Something that's close to it.
Yeah, what else can you do with improv?
And man, here's the interesting thing. It's like I binge watched the first season. I didn't realize how different the first season was compared to after that. It was kind of like their pilot season, trying to get everything together. Like, they only did one episode with the hoedown, and like it's usually like every episode, if not like every 2 episodes, they do the hoedown.
If you go back and watch the original version, the hoedown is in there a lot.
Yeah.
But I think it's because they wanted to step away from the British version, even though they kept the same people.
Yeah.
Because Greg Proops is one of the oldest ones on there, next with Colin Mocker and Ron Stuff. But I could see them like going away from that first season, and then somebody at the second season, some producers like, no, do the fucking hoedown.
And it's like, so I was rewatching it, and after kind of getting through the first season and into the second season, it really reminded me how much it actually influenced even some of the media we enjoy today. And one clicked with me that I never really realized. All of us here watch Good Mythical Morning. Think about the wheel at the very end of the episode. Yeah. It's an improv class because 9 times out of 10, they'll, or especially in the earlier episodes, they would spin it and it's like, Link is getting attacked by bees. And then it's like they kind of pause for a second, and then Link will just start screaming, waving his arms around his head, and it's like, oh my god, I gotta get that, and they'll like do a quick little improv thing, and that's how they would just end the show. And they explained it being, it's like, we didn't want to say, thanks so much, come back tomorrow. They didn't want to do that. They just wanted a way to end it, and they're like, well, we'll just do some improv. And they even do like the 10-word story where they have to say 1 word each and go back and forth. That's pretty similar to like the Whose Line Is It Anyway 3-headed chorus thing where it's like each person is supposed to say a word and sing a song. So it's like, it's just such an interesting thing seeing how media from that time just really kind of influenced even comedians and what they still do today.
They're very unique because those guys don't do stand-up.
No.
And to do Whose Line Is It Anyway, you have to be very body oriented.
Different medium almost.
So you take someone like Keegan Michael Key or Jordan Peele, Bill Hader, Fred Armisen, guys who are very body oriented. They would be perfect for a comeback of that show.
Robin Williams would
have been great, but Robin Williams
would have been too big.
Well, not just that, but he's the 360 comedian.
Yeah.
He did stand up, movies, impressions,
and
cartoons, and improv. He was there, all around comedian, and he came up in a very special time because it was nothing but stand up.
Yeah.
And there was the only show he was on was Mork and Mindy. And before that, he did touring with Billy Crystal and fucking, what's her name? Black lady from The View.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah.
It was Goldberg, Crystal, and Williams, man. That was the big three.
I was say.
And, Bill Crystal even did sketch comedy.
Yeah.
But,
and then there was the Mel Brooks.
Oh, Mel Brooks.
Sketch shows
Mel
back
Brooks
in the 70s and things like that.
It's like the first Kevin Smith, the fan who made something himself.
Exactly.
And it's so hilarious seeing stuff like that, because it's a different version of comedy, just like there's different versions of music,
Yeah.
To do Whose Line Is It Anyway, you have to shoot from the hip every night. Yeah. Every time. And that's why Drew Carey isn't considered as funny on that show, because he's a stand-up comedian.
Yep.
And he's a comedy writer. So he has a process, and his process doesn't run as fast.
Yeah.
Now, but you take those same guys, Wayne Brady, what is he great at? Being a game show host. And playing and doing duets with Mark Ruble.
But he's good at the game show host thing because he's good at shooting at the hip, quick improv.
And he's also that one thing game show hosts need. He's very enthusiastic about who he's talking to.
Yes.
Very excited, very hype.
Yeah, very hype. And can you imagine just having a Wayne Brady around, just being hyping you up?
That would be exhausting after a minute.
Does Wayne Brady need to cut a bitch?
Yes, Wayne. Yes,
Does Wayne Brady need to shut the fuck up?
Uh-oh. Mr. Benjamin looks lonely.
This seems a little light.
I love that too. Talk about another sketch comedy show. Dave Chappelle, who went from some of the best stand up in the early days to ruining his life with a sketch comedy show, and then coming back and producing some of the greatest comedy we've ever heard.
Oh yeah.
But that's what became the standard after his show. Then Comedy Central had to have a sketch show every year since, whether it was Mind of Mencia or Key and Peele or
fuck, even blue collar comedy TV or
Yeah.
blue collar TV. And even that hurt because it's like we didn't really talk about that one too much on the comedian special because we didn't talk about their shows as much. But blue collar TV, that hurt because I enjoyed the tour. I liked those four, and when I heard they were going to get a TV show, I'm like, fuck yeah! I was a kid. I was like, fuck yeah! I get to see new versions of that comedy every time. And then it's like the more I watched this, like each episode, it never got better. And I was like, they're just rehashing jokes and overplaying it, like they're pushing too hard and it's not funny.
Branding, get her done. Branding.
But that goes to I think somebody was talking about last time we were talking about this. Conservative comedy is non-progressive comedy.
Yeah.
The Get Her Dones, the Jeff Dunhams, there's a reason he doesn't change it up.
Yeah.
Because they love hearing that same shit over and over again.
I've got a perfect example. Not trail too far off, but the fucking the Cracker Barrel meme of that guy's wife that got fucking fired.
Yeah.
And how the boomer culture just grabbed onto that. If you go to their Twitter Brad's wife, that's what it was.
Oh, God.
If you go to their Twitter page today, you'll still see motherfuckers in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Did you hire back Brad's wife? It's like they don't know when to give it up.
No, it's a very, I'm not bashing conservative, but I'm saying the comedy is very limited.
Do it again.
Yeah, do it again.
Let's hear the hits.
Yeah, that's why people like Ron White don't stay with them motherfuckers. And the other guy, you had mentioned another guy that was...
Bill Engvall?
on another comedy tour they did, and you couldn't think of the name. I figured out who it was.
Yeah,
because he had a badass joke about pulling a rifle out and almost shooting his wife from a balcony. It was a great joke. It was a good joke.
He's like, hold up, stay with me.
Stay with me. He pulled out. He saw something in the field. He wasn't sure what it was, and like he's on the balcony, so he can't quite see it, but he doesn't have binoculars. So he pulls out his rifle, and then she begins to serpentine through the field. But he's just trying to see who it is.
Sounds familiar, but it wasn't a blue collar comedy tour because the
this
only
one
ones...
was the joke I'm talking about. What the guy, because he strayed so far off the fucking path.
It had to be Bill Engvall.
Was it Rodney Carrington?
No. This guy was a one hit wonder that I saw. He had glasses, long black hair. He kind of looked like the dude. It's a very depressing comedic. Glasses, beard, black hair. Anyway, sad sack.
Yeah. And you said this was on one of the blue collar specials?
It was the one that wasn't the big one.
Well, they did 3.
Yeah, this wasn't one of them. This
Oh,
is
like
still a blue collar comedy tour, but this is early on, and they got rid of him and replaced him with Ron White.
Oh, okay. No, I wasn't talking about that. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, but this guy was hilarious.
Yeah.
But he's just talking about his wife serpentining. He's just trying to see who the fuck's in his yard.
Oh, I vaguely remember that joke now, but no, yeah. I didn't bring that up. I forgot about that.
I thought that was the guy you was talking about.
Yeah, no.
Was it an older guy?
Yeah, it was an older guy. He was kind of like Mark Maron, but it wasn't Mark Maron.
Okay, I think I know who you're talking about,
Yeah,
but I can't think of his name either.
Like the more you started describing the joke, it more started kind of coming back to me. But yeah, no, I wasn't thinking about that.
Stay with me with the rifle joke. Stay with me.
Yeah. Stay with me. It's okay.
Does he have the bit about South Carolina Gamecocks?
I think so.
Where it's like Summerfest in the University of South Carolina is, well, before I tell you this story, I have to let you know this fact. There are mascots called the Gamecocks. So it's like if you go to Lobster Fest, you get all the lobster fest you can eat or something along those lines.
Yeah, a weird elaborate joke about South Carolina.
Yeah.
But no, that's how I see conservative humor from my point of view.
Oh, totally.
And it's not bad. It's just stale.
It is.
After years and years of hearing it shit. Like Bill Engvall, I could give a fuck about what his jokes.
I'm a dorkfish, whatever that shit
not
was.
Even that, the here's your sign bullshit.
Yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy nailed it with you might be a redneck, but guess what? That shit gets tired after a while.
Yeah.
And you got Larry the Cable Guy who got into character, but in real life he's an uber liberal.
Oh, yeah.
Like Ron White said, he's a fucking Democrat from hell. And I love Ron White, even though he hangs out with that crazy motherfucker, Dr. Phil.
It's like Ron White just wanted to be, just a legit stand-up performer.
He wanted to drink for free.
Yeah. Yes.
And who wouldn't?
But Jeff Fox,
Ron White was the motherfucker sitting at the bar, a whole bunch of people going, "You're pretty funny. You should do open mic nights."
You're almost as good as Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah, and they started doing open mic nights, and people just started giving him drinks. And he's like, "All right, well, here's a way I can drink for free."
Keep loading the motherfucking up. You know?
Yeah.
But then you got like the far side of that, which is SNL.
Yeah.
Which they change it up too much. There's some skits that they do I would love to see more of. Mm-hmm. Like Black Jeopardy is such a hilarious skit.
But the problem with SNL is that they're on the biggest platform, arguably in media for sketch comedy.
They've been around for so long.
Yeah, and it's a legacy thing, and they have their audience that they have to, get their numbers to and all that shit,
And they have, gems, like some of the greatest comedians we've probably ever seen. Bill Murray started on that. Jane Curtin. Mm-hmm. John Belushi, not Jim Belushi.
Yeah, I mean, he was there too, but...
He was there.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, and then you have people like Bill Hader, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and I'm missing a fuck ton. Norm Macdonald, Chris Farley.
That's like the biggest.
Phil Hartman.
That's like the biggest dot you can get on your resume as a comedian.
Yeah, for that time. And what's funny is there's so many people who have failed to get on SNL. You wouldn't believe it.
Oh yeah, I've heard the
Kevin Hart
stories.
couldn't get on fucking SNL.
Or like the ones that were there for a minute and then fucked up, but then
like Andy Dick.
Or Chris Rock. He was only on for like maybe a year or two, and and he got fired or he quit. One
Eddie
or the
Murphy
other.
got let go because of a fucking argument with David Spade.
No shit.
Yeah, he never came back because David Spade made a joke about him after he left, and it was just like,
Yeah, I forget the specifics, but I remember reading about that.
It was about him getting a tranny hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Saturday Night Live was never a show I watched too much. Like, I only caught some of it. Like,
it's very adult.
I remember Jeff Williams had a videotape of like the Christmas specials, like the best of the Christmas specials. And I remember we'd watched that a couple times, and I think it came with like a bonus tape of like the best of like years between this and this.
Bill Sweaty and his sweaty balls.
Yeah. Yes. And so it's like we watched a handful of that, and I always thought that was funny. Just for some reason, just Mad TV was just the one that I could put on and actually enjoy more.
Mad TV is so fucking raunchy.
And maybe it wasn't even because it was raunchy, but Mad TV skewered more pop culture. Saturday Night Live skewered more celebrities, and I didn't follow celebrity, but I followed pop culture. So it's like I would laugh at the Pizza Hut parody commercial, but if it was, you know, someone acting like Sean Connery, I'd be like, okay, this is kind of funny, but you know, whatever. So I think that's more or less where I came from. Is Mad TV really skewered pop culture, and whereas Saturday Night Live skewered celebrities.
It was very current pop culture.
Yeah,
because McDonald dressed up like Dr. Phil, and Deborah Wilson was Oprah, and Oprah gets on the show. And he's like, "You fat pig." Yeah. And she's like, "I made you, motherfuckers." and you have like the PE teacher, which was Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peele, they were veterans of that show on Mad TV. And that's where their Aaron skit really comes from.
Yeah, yeah.
And they wasted it on SNL. He hosted SNL not long ago. Keegan Michael Key did. And they wasted it.
Damn.
They couldn't even do it right. And it was just like, fuck, man, this was a bit of the skit that everyone wants to see.
Me off.
Yeah.
The Coach Hines, that's what it was on Mad TV. Remember?
Yeah.
Because he'd always look at Bobby Lee and like, you. Carrico.
My favorites were like the football sketches they would do when they would make fun of like the football players' names.
Oh yeah, that was Key and Peele. Yeah,
yeah.
DeBrickashaw.
That's the real person. But then they would go Leon Maxwell Gilliams, Ohio State Penitentiary.
It's like John Smith, BYU. It'd be like all these just like stupid fucking name people, and then it'd be the one white guy. BYU. Of course.
My name's Dan.
Dan from BYU. And then one of them was dolphin noises.
Torque Lewis.
Torque Lewis.
Fudge.
Yeah, Fudge was his name. It's like Cher. Fudge.
Yeah. It was funny thinking back on it now. Some of the other shows I enjoyed around that same time period, it's like sketch comedy and like improv was getting really big because the Muppets Revival was set up kind of like a sketch comedy show.
Yeah.
And I even remember liking that a lot as a kid. So maybe just that kind of like fast-paced variety TV just really kind of set in with a certain generation. And it's like even showing itself with stuff like the Eric Andre show and, you know, weird sketch comedies that show up on, you know, Adult Swim.
All right, so the comedy is the right.
Yeah.
Eric Andre is the left side. It's terrible. Like Hannibal Buress made that show. Eric Andre is an asshole.
But that's the character.
I understand that's the character, but it's also him.
Well, I mean, it's no different than like, okay, talking about the way sketch shows changed. I mean, Stephen Colbert and all of that was even sketch comedy.
I liked about Stephen Colbert was it was a fallacy.
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert is not that right-wing nut job on the Colbert Report. And then he becomes himself on Late Night with Stephen Colbert.
But I would say the same thing with Eric Andre. He's not really that kind of character. He's really playing it up for the show.
Yeah, but in a fucked up way. I see it as a fucked up way.
Yeah. Is it just the delivery of it? Like, because I can understand if it just gets under your skin personality-wise.
It's cringy pranks that I don't like.
But you also do understand that the people going on know what they're signing up for.
Yeah, but now he's got a new show now where people don't know.
Uh-huh.
On Netflix, and I've watched some of that.
Yeah.
I was hoping like maybe he had some of that Eric Andre feel, you know.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It's a weird, violent prank show.
Well,
on the point, imagine if the guys of Jackass didn't know what was about to happen.
Well, I was gonna say, so what would be the difference between like Bad Grandpa and this? So like Bad Grandpa, I mean, Johnny Knoxville even came to Charlotte and shot a lot of that movie over here, and he was just doing like what could be done as, you know, scary or big pranks, you know, getting thrown through the Value Village window, you know.
Yeah, but that was him.
Or like a Sacha Baron Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen does comedy that's a social commentary. because he made it very clear after he did Borat, or not Borat. Was it
Bruno?
Bruno, which is a very fucked up movie.
That's a very fucked up movie.
Well, there's a part in Bruno toward the end where he kisses a dude.
Yeah.
Right. And the whole crowd goes fucking nuts because it's like Redneck Wrestling 100 or some shit.
Yeah.
Everyone goes nuts and starts violently doing shit because that's what Sacha Baron Cohen wants to happen.
Right.
Because he's proven, look what I did. I kissed a dude, and this is their response to kill us. That was their response to that.
Yeah.
And that's what Sacha Baron Cohen's trying to tell you. Like, the littlest thing can set off these people who are dangerous and are part of our society that we overlook. Mm-hmm. Same with Borat. Yeah. When he does some of the immigration stuff on the subway, and most of us like, get the fuck off the subway, you terrorist fuck.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what he plays for. In the beginning it was Ali G, and that thug, Arab, stuff like that. And that was funny. But then he realized what he could do with it. Because you got people like Stephen Colbert like that, who does a social commentary of like, how stupid does this sound when I say this right-wing crazy fucking fact, or this left-wing fact. So you wouldn't
see Eric Andre doing a social commentary on the late-night TV structure and how...
On late-night TV structure, but I'm saying, like, what I'm saying is, I don't like his show. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I know, that's fine.
But I don't like his show, and I don't like his delivery.
Right.
Like, he could be... subtlety goes a long way with these people. I understand. That's why Between Two Ferns is a perfect example of a fucked up way to do late night television.
Yeah.
His is just like lazy slapstick comedy, it seems like.
But that's what he's saying that the late night formula is.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying I don't like it as much as, subtlety. It's not as subtle. Because he could be in the middle of a conversation and then all of a sudden a ball falls from the fucking ceiling. It's some weird, There's no foreshadowing. There could be no foreshadowing, but it's a weird setup.
Yeah.
And it's just not for me.
No, I got you.
But to me, that's that far left side compared to the right side,
Yeah.
I have not watched one episode of Eric Andre.
The best part is Hannibal Buress.
Yeah, Hannibal Buress makes it whack.
Time is a construct.
Now you gotta do it in a voice, man.
Yeah.
Whack.
Whack.
No, and
why are you booing me? I'm right.
and to kind of talk about another show we brought up earlier, Whose Line Is It Anyway was one of the few shows that Mom and I would actually make sure to catch and watch. I remember distinctly, we were actually on vacation to the beach, and we had just gotten in the hotel in time. Mom looked at the clock and went, "Oh shit," and ran to the TV and turned it on because there was a new episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway, and it was 10 minutes in. Yeah. And it's like, so I remember like it was like that important for us that like even we were on vacation, we walked into the hotel and Mom was like, "Oh shit, we've got time," and like turned it on, and we're like watching this horrible fuzzy reception, and that was like the kind of the cap off of the night before we went to bed and everything.
Yeah, you can't watch Chappelle's Show with Mom, but you can watch Whose Line with Mom.
My parents never watched any of that stuff.
Really?
No, they didn't watch Dave Chappelle when it came on, even though I would tell them, like, "Hey, you got to check this out. It's so funny."
Oh, no, I was upstairs hiding Chappelle's Show from my mom and dad.
My parents didn't watch it till recently.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, because they watched the Equanimity stand-up.
Yeah.
And I was like, check out his show. It's very good. And I remember back then when Chappelle's Show was going on, Mount 'em and See It, they were fans of that because he was everywhere.
Yeah.
And then, like, comparative it. It's
not. You want to hear the original jokes?
Yeah, if you want to hear the original jokes, you could listen to fucking George Lopez.
Yeah, no
shit. Stanhope and all them motherfuckers. But no, the sketch comedy on Comedy Central bumped up after the Presents started to like wane.
Yeah, after post Chappelle Show, since I guess Comedy Central was counting on Dave Chappelle to do another season, they were like, well, here's Amy Schumer, here's Key and Peele, here's a bunch of others.
Like, in the early 2000s was the golden age for SNL.
Or like another golden age.
Yeah, like a Gilded Age kind of.
Yeah.
Who'd you have? You had Tina Fey, Will Ferrell,
yeah,
Amy Poehler. Oh fuck, what's his name?
I forgot that was the same time. Amy Poehler, Chris Kattan, yeah. Up the 2001 cast.
Jimmy
Fallon.
Mm-hmm. And the guest stars were perfect because they had people like Christopher Walken, Drew Barrymore, people who knew what comedy was, And that's
like the host got involved, and
the host was a little bit better than they are now.
Tracy Morgan. I forgot about that. The best one, the sneaky
Alec Baldwin.
The sneaky best one was probably Daryl Hammond, though.
Yeah.
That did like the Bill Clinton sketches and all that.
All the president sketches are hilarious.
I loved.
They brought them all back for the one episode.
I loved SNL's political sketches.
Yeah.
And I loved their musical guests.
Oh man!
Whenever they would do syndication and play stuff from like the early '90s and would have like deep cut fucking '90s bands that I'd never like seen on TV or anything like that. It'd be like the one time I get to see them, and it'd be cool. It's always be a cool performance.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw Chris Stapleton was on.
Nice.
The Black Keys, back when they barely first album in, bam, they're on there.
Yeah.
The old episodes of SNL, first time I ever saw Sinead O'Connor cover that one song.
Oh yeah, is that the one where she ripped the Pope's
At the time,
picture?
I didn't even give a shit, but damn, that was a good song. But the political sketches on there, I swear to God, I think it's a conspiracy. They had a deal worked out with Donald Trump to make some of the best goddamn political sketches of all time with Donald Trump's cabinet. Like the press secretary ones, she had Melissa McCarthy as what's his name, the press secretary, and he would just get up in he'd move the podium and just start bashing press with it. He's like, "You got another fucking question? Huh? You got another fucking question?"
All right, now that it's over with, I should revisit it. So
watch Kate McKinnon. One of the greatest SNL actors I've ever seen.
Anytime I hear her name, all I think of is fucking. All I hear is Coulter Wall too.
Fucking Kate McKinnon playing former Secretary of State. Not Spicer. The guy who quit, who got fired, really, like everyone else. Anyway, he's this weird Southern dude from Alabama who hates marijuana and gays. Yeah, but.
Every other guy from Alabama.
Jeff fucking Sessions. She does a perfect Jeff Sessions because he looks like a goblin.
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't know. Even political humor just winds up kind of falling dull on me because you're bringing up Comedy Central. I mean, I even tried watching Little Bush when that came out. And that was kind of funny.
Like Little Bush and his retarded brother Jib.
Yeah. And that was kind of funny, but just, I don't know. Political humor was never that funny to me.
Then they try to do That's My Bush with like the live action.
Yeah, they did one. They did a Little Bush, and then they did one with Obama for a little while. Then they did one Trump. Trump.
They did Trump. That was on
Showtime.
Yeah, they did that in another That's My President kind of thing or whatever. Yeah. Like so stations will try anytime there's a new president.
But you talk about Hammond. They brought him back. They brought the dude that did George W. They brought
Will Ferrell.
They brought Ferrell, Hammond, and the guy that did the older George Bush. And the one that did
fucking Dana Carvey.
Yeah, Dana Carvey, and they brought them all back. With I forget the black guy's name from SNL now, but he was Obama. But they all brought him back.
Yeah, I forget
this weird fucking sketch, and it's so hilarious. Yeah. It's like all these former presidents hanging out, and then here comes Troller like Jimmy Carter, like, "Yeah, motherfucker, I'm still alive."
Was Dana Carvey was Ross Perot too, wasn't he?
Let me finish.
Can't finish.
Let me finish.
That was the part that when Ross Perot died, that was the one part that made me go like, "Aw."
Oh, Ross Perot was the Donald Trump before Donald Trump.
Yes,
except he knew how to business.
He knew how to business.
Yeah, we're in our 30s.
Yeah. Let me finish.
Was there any other sketch comedy shows that we hadn't really mentioned?
Not offhand. I'll probably think of it after the show.
Of course, as it always happens.
Yeah, Matt TV was kind of like the other like big one that wasn't SNL. That wasn't on Comedy Central.
If you think about it, they have bled into some other shows, especially with someone like Seth MacFarlane, who does Cutaways, which is a sort of sketch, which I love those. I can't.
Yeah, those are all kind of sketches in themselves. It's about like the Robot Chicken thing.
Yeah, the Robot Chicken. Yeah. Did you ever hear the joke that he says about Robot Chicken in the Star Wars special?
Oh yeah, they take like a whole 2 minutes on it at the end.
It's hilarious. He's like, "Oh, at least that ain't Robot Chicken." He's like, "What?" Because Chris is voiced by Seth Green, the guy. Yeah, this is fucking hilarious.
Oh, I remember too.
I've caught up to some new Robot Chicken. It's still got it. It's still got that shit. Yeah. They do have the darkest sketch though. Do you remember the darkest sketch?
Which one?
They call it is on Robot Chicken. It was a little boy. He's laid in his bed, and his dad busts in, or no, his dad comes home, and the wife's like, you don't see it. It's just a little boy in his bedroom, and you hear like, oh, look who decided to show up. He's like, fuck you, bitch. I was at work. She's like, you smell like liquor. And it's just like, and then it goes back and forth. Oh yeah, bitch. And you hear a pop, pop, pop. And then Dad busts the door. Hey, son, you want to go to Disneyland? What about Mom? Disneyland. And then he runs back out, and you hear fucking woo. You hear like police sirens, and then like they put some LEDs in the background, red and blue.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, heaven's gonna rain on your heads tonight, motherfuckers. And then the cops just leave, and then it redoes it with the mom, and then it redoes it again. And then all of a sudden, a fucking tooth fairy. It's called the Tooth Fairy sketch.
Yeah.
But a tooth fairy and a bunch of like big band people come in. Darkest sketch. Darkest sketch. Darkest sketch. But like Key and Peele, man, their sketches are so good. I don't know if y'all ever caught up on that.
I haven't watched a lot of it.
Just the famous ones, really. I didn't watch it religiously.
They have a lot of recurring ones that are really good, and you can tell that's the one they cherry pick those.
Yeah, like the football one, like the Coach Hines. Well, Coach Hines wasn't.
Coach Hines was on Mad TV.
Okay.
Substitute Teacher is on.
Substitute Teacher was essentially
Jay Quillen.
But he was essentially Coach Hines.
Yeah, he's essentially Coach Hines. Yeah. But you work with what you got, and you actually see a lot of people from Mad TV show up in Key and Peele sketches.
They all kind of bleed into each other's, groups and shows.
Well, it's because if you wind up spending that much time with each other making comedy, you're probably not just gonna drop them and not quit talking to them. You
guys have like a favorite like sketch? Think of like one that makes you laugh all the time if you were to watch it again.
Probably The Mad Real World.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love when he's walking past him.
You stabbed me. I'm bleeding.
Honestly, I already kind of mentioned it earlier. The Mad TV Kiss segments; those are always funny. But if I can't pick a Kiss thing, honestly, the Dave Chappelle pop copy. I still love
welcome
that
to Pop Copy.
Yeah.
Yo, son, it's done. You're out of here.
And if you get one of them uppity customers that asks to speak to the manager, just tell them you are the manager.
Motherfucker, I am the manager. And I love how they got Michael fucking Rappaport to be the sketch.
Yes.
The only white guy Spike Lee could say the N-word. but like, he's like, yo, motherfucker, I am the manager. But he's got the same guy from, what was it?
True Romance.
Well, not just that, the Hispanic guy. That's his buddy in...
and Half Baked.
Half
that
Baked.
Guy.
Yeah. He's like, fuck you.
Fuck you. and the button on the end is like... And people may ask, why? Why do we treat our customers like this? Because fuck them, that's why. I love that. Ever since I heard that, because I was like deep in retail at that point when I heard that bit. And I'm just like... Bravo. Bravo.
Yeah. I think my favorite, and I think it's just so funny because it took a lot of time to do, and they still fuck it up.
Yeah.
Is in a Mad TV skit with Coach Hines. There's a classroom, and Bobby Lee keep cracking these stupid little jokes. And if you remember Coach Hines, he's always chewing gum, and he's got this big-ass mustache.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel? And he pulls his because he's got his shorts all the way the fuck up.
Yeah.
And he walks out the door, and then from off scene, he goes around the set, and he comes in like someone running from the crowd, and he jumps on Bobby Lee's back. He's like, Yamanashi! And he just like, he's perching on Bobby Lee's neck, and everyone's like scared because they got their backs faced to him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Yamanashi! And he looks like a fucking bird just perched on this little guy's neck. And like, you could tell Bobby Lee's like scared, like Ari Schaefer's coming.
Did they talk this out, or was this like
no,
all improv?
Like I looked it up. I was just like, no, because he went out the door and like he's supposed to come back in, and get in Yamanashi's face, but he went out the door, around the set, around the wall, and came from the camera angle and just Yamanashi. And it's just like, I'll show it to you after this, but the way he perches on the chair, because he's sitting on a desk like we used to have in school, with the arm right here, and he just perches on this motherfucker, and they're like, oh my god.
Somebody help Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
So why do you think it is that probably the sketch show, for all intents and purposes, or at least like the sketch show as in like a Whose Line Is It Anyway, or a new Saturday Night Live, or a new Mad TV, why do you think that's basically done at this point?
I think it's because no one willing to do it anymore.
I think there's plenty of people willing to do it. I feel like they've tried doing it, but it just winds up failing. I mean, they tried rebooting Whose Line Is It Anyway? They even brought back the British host for the most recent season.
Yeah,
we got shows like Robot Chicken and Family Guy that do 10-second sketches, essentially.
But that was what we were talking about earlier with the format kind of changing. So I'm kind of curious as to when the format changed, why did it, like the old one, just kind of basically die?
Hey, man. You could argue low ratings toward the ends of some of these shows. SNL isn't having great ratings.
They haven't had good ratings in like
10
years.
What's the only? Is there any other sketch show that's been around since?
No, they're all gone.
Not that stuck around. No,
there's no sketch show that's really stuck around.
Ooh, I forgot. I blanked on this one until now. What about Mr. Show with Bob and David?
Oh, Mr. Show, Bob and David. Oh yeah, those are good.
I love those.
And like Whitest Kids You Know and Kids in the Hall. Yeah. Oh man, Kids in the Hall had some of the best stuff on IFC.
Well, I was gonna say, it's stuff like Whitest Kids You Know. I feel like that's even part of that new breed of sketch comedy. Because something I was gonna bring up at the beginning is what you mentioned with like kind of changing the format. I feel like the only room for that left is a show like Auntie Donna.
Yeah.
So that was kind of sketchy, even though it was still a narrative story per episode. Every time they clipped to a new scene, it was basically like a new improv sketch moment that was just special effects and,
everything's
planned.
Everything's a drum. And then it deviates. And they're like, we need a new roommate. Cowboy. And he's like the dishwasher.
So it's like there's those random weird moments. So if we kind of want to lump Family Guy's cutaways as skits, that almost feels like a skit written comedy show. And that feels like the best we can get out of it these days.
I think if someone was to do another sketch comedy, would have to be some SNL alums.
Yeah.
To come together and do on Comedy Central or FX. FX has the room for it. But I would like to see Seth MacFarlane and some SNL alums. Even bring in the Mad TV guys. Mm-hmm. Will Sasso, he's on a sitcom right now.
Yeah.
He's on that show Mom. Yeah. Michael McDonald appears in movies a lot. I see. Like Jordan Peele, he's making movies. Yeah, but Michael Key's still running around. Get him.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be like anything else. There's going to be a new generation that finds a new lane to, appeal to a new audience.
I think the reason like Whitest Kids You Know, Bob and Tom, and all that worked because there wasn't availability like Comedy Central Presents or Whose Line Is It Anyway? Because there's a gap.
Yeah.
When they stop, and then you have what do you have? This funny game show host, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, some late night guys were still kicking, Letterman and Leno, which hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, we weren't watching that a lot as teenagers.
But and the consumption of
television. Watch more Conan O'Brien than anything.
Yeah, he's fucking hilarious. But like the consumption of these late night things change with the ebb and flow of you have time to watch it. When do you have time to watch it? I think what kills it a lot, or killing a lot of that stuff is I need something that I can keep my focus on for a solid 9 hours when I'm off work.
Yeah.
And then when I finish watching it, I can go to sleep and go back to fucking work.
Yeah.
That's why
over my weekend time. If you can't watch it within that span, people aren't going to watch it. Because binging is now the only thing left.
It is.
Because
that's why podcasts are more successful than late night talk shows now.
Yeah, like I could listen to a podcast like ours or anyone else that runs between an hour and 2 hours while I drive to work.
Exactly.
While I'm on break. And then stop and pick up where I left off, as opposed to I have to record this, I have to sit down and watch it. Or if I watch it live, which is the fucking worst, I have to watch fucking commercials.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I got I get 3 questions out of my guests as opposed to a podcast where I get a 2-hour conversation.
Yeah, but then YouTube's doing the same fucking thing. Good Mythical Morning.
Yeah.
Hot Ones.
Yeah.
Josh Evans.
Yeah.
One of the greatest interviewers I've ever heard in my life. I swear to God, he is one of the greatest interviewers. He beats Dan Rather. Put that motherfucker on 60 Minutes.
Right?
Let's interview Saddam Hussein while eating chicken wings. Tell me you wouldn't watch that.
I would.
So Saddam, I understand that it's hard building a dictatorship and putting an iron fist on the country of Iraq. So what kind of cookies do you like? You know what I'm saying? That's Josh Evans. It is so dynamic.
Oh my God! No, I totally agree.
That's what's going to happen. It's going to be somebody through YouTube or some other outlet that's not going to be traditional TV.
And what will happen is they'll put them on cable and they'll kill them.
Yep.
That's what they did with Dave Chappelle. They put them on television. They put them on television, and it kills their career.
Cable's on its way out, though. You think
it is? He needs to stay on. Some of these people need to stay on fucking YouTube.
I was just gonna say that's where the new thing's gonna happen.
Unless you put them on all on one channel, just one channel.
that people have tried doing that shit before. It goes horribly.
Well, now I've noticed like a lot of television stations, like skimming through cable, it's all just syndicated one show.
Yeah.
Forever.
Golden
Girls.
Golden Girls.
This is the Golden Girls channel.
Yeah, the Golden Girls channel. The fucking Saturday Night Live channel.
Yeah.
Seinfeld.
Ugh. Gross.
Out of the two of the time, we talked about this on the comedy show, but no, out of the two, I still have to go Seinfeld versus Friends.
There are some good ones, like some good episodes.
Yeah. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I love it, but I get why people hate it. It's like Van Halen.
That old show about nothing, man.
Don't you dare compare Seinfeld to Van Halen, you motherfucker.
I'll compare it to Van Hager. I don't give a fuck.
Van Halen.
I'll compare it to Whoop Chicken. I don't care.
Hello, baby.
It's just, I can see there's no time anymore for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Even a lot of SNL stuff is going straight to YouTube. And the only thing that I think, one thing that's keeping SNL alive is Hulu.
Yeah.
And that's keeping a lot of shows alive.
Oh, totally.
Peacock now.
No one watches that shit. Unless you got a fucking Spectrum subscription. I found that out the other day. Like, somebody listed off all the like streaming services and put it on Twitter. It's like, we are not going to watch all of these.
Yeah.
Get your shit together. He's basically talking to Amazon, Disney, and fucking anyone else. Get your shit together, HBO.
Yeah, honestly, I think at the end of the day, we're just going to wind up having Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Disney, and HBO.
Disney is Hulu.
Yeah, but I feel like Disney's still going to want to separate their next day TV viewing from their Disney catalog. So I still feel like Hulu by name is still going to stick around for next day TV show streaming.
But I think it's part of the umbrella of Disney now.
It is.
But
it is.
I think they'll tack it on as like a premium thing. It's like, oh, spend that extra money. We'll give you this dead stepkid. You can play with it. It's not rotted all the way, but yeah, you can still play with it.
It still has episodes of Family Guy on it.
It still got the marionette strings I put on his hands. Look, you can make him clap. But like, I would love to see. I can't wait for the Entertainment Wars.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I can't wait for our little implants to subliminally tell me to buy Doritos instead of the cheap shit.
Just Disney and Warner Brothers, man.
Disney, Warner Brothers. He's gonna kill the one brother, make the other one decide. That's what I want to see. Just a meme of just like Disney Thanos just stomping one to death and making the other one watch and pointing at him. Was like, you. Oh my God, the great Disney.
Well, it's been a fun way to wrap up an episode talking
Please
about sketch
Disney.
comedy.
Please sponsor us, Disney. We'll tell China they're cool. We'll be like John Cena. We'll apologize for atrocities.
Dun, 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 dun.
I see you. I see you. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, for this episode of The Couch Potatoes, I've been Alex.
I've been Cap.
And Chris, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Fuck China. I know we're going to lose a lot of sponsorship dollars, but I want to get it out now before they have me killed when we get big.
Dun, 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 dun.
You can look at me all day, motherfucker.